Joining me now is Olivier Melnick and Dov Hyken. Gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks,
Big
Brandon.
news today.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Big news today. Look at what the White House put out. Shalom, Columbia. Trump administration cancels $400 million to Columbia University over failure to protect Jewish students. We have all kinds of videos we have played. Play a few more here in B-roll to remind everybody. Not that many need to be reminded, I don't think, about all of the anti-Semitic incidences on American campuses the last few years, including tracking down Jewish students, making them hide, run for shelter, lock themselves in libraries, going outside of their housing, and being targeted by pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas people with their terrorist neckerchiefs on. Joining me to discuss this news today are these two gentlemen. But I first want them to remind our audience about their backgrounds. Dov, I think you and Olivier, this is the first time you two have appeared together. I think you both have something in common, and that is family members that were in the Holocaust. Dov, remind our audience about your family's history, please.
Well, both of my parents went through the Holocaust. My mother from Czechoslovakia arrived in Auschwitz in 1944 with her mother, father, brothers, sisters. Almost all of them went to the gas chambers the day they arrived. That's how it, if they weren't going to work you to death, there was no point in your living. So my parents are both Holocaust survivors, and for me, standing up and speaking out and being there for my people is part of my DNA.
And Olivier, share your story to remind those who maybe don't remember or don't know, hearing you for the first time.
Born and raised in Paris, France. I think I'm just a few years younger than Dov, but my parents survived the Holocaust. My mother saw her father taken by the Gestapo from the house where I grew up on the edge of Paris, right where that supermarket was actually attacked in 2015, right there. And he died in Auschwitz. According to my research, within a week after he was taken, he died in Auschwitz. Most likely, as he arrived, probably through the selection, he didn't make it, and he was put in the gas chambers, like Dov just said, probably on the first day, first night. And for me, for the last 25 years, I've been studying, teaching, speaking, writing on anti-Semitism. I had never been to Israel until age 57, which is about 8 years ago. And I used to tell people, I cannot go visit Israel before I visit Auschwitz. Don't ask me why, but this was something in my kishkis, as we say in our people. In my gut, I had to go see Auschwitz before I could go to Israel. I've done both now, Israel many times, and I keep going. But it's my fight to fight anti-Semitism, to speak up, and to educate the Christians on how to understand our people, understand anti-Semitism, and fight it with us.
So both of you have grandparents that died at Auschwitz.
Yeah, I never had grandparents. I'm a grandfather, beautiful grandchildren. It's the most beautiful thing in the world, grandchildren. Kids are great, but grandchildren is what it's all about.
Amen.
And right, and I never had grandparents. I never had anyone. The concept of a grandparent being there in my life. We didn't have any of that, and for no good reason, except the fact that they were Jews. That was the crime they committed. They were Jews.
The biggest slap in Hitler's face is the fact that we survived and we made babies and grandbabies.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we're here. History is replete with, if you study history, and I urge everyone to do that, it's so important, and never stop. You can never know enough. The more I read, the more I realize how little I know. And if you study history, you realize that we, the Jewish people, been through a hell of a lot. All the challenges, the pogroms. I mean, I don't know if anyone has ever done a count of how many Jews have been murdered throughout history, men, women, and children, butchered, tortured, because they were Jews, of course. But you know what? We're here. We're here. We're strong. We're proud. We have a state of Israel that really is an example to the world. This little country, 9 million people total, 7 million Jews. It's remarkable. They do these studies all the time where, who are the happiest people in the world? Which countries? You would think that Israel would be somewhere down on the list with all the challenges, all the terrorism, all the terrible things, the wars. And Israel is always like in the top 7 or 8 of all countries in the world where people are happy. I mean, can you imagine that? It is a remarkable thing. And Israel, as we know, is an incredibly successful country on every single level. Maybe that's part of the problem in terms of the anti-Semites. They've got a problem with that, but we're only 15 million in the entire world. When I ask people, how many Jews are there? Oh, 150 million. I really walk around and ask people, how many Jews are there? It's only 15 million. That's it in the entire world.
I know. And, another thing I want to add, Dove, is that Israel is also, in light of all the anti-Semitism we've seen over the last several decades, and especially since October 7th, Israel is, it's going to sound crazy, but Brandon, I've told you this on the show before, Israel is fighting 7 wars, 7 fronts. If you count the media, it's 8. Fighting 7 fronts or 8 with the media, and yet Israel is the safest place for Jews to live.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back to France. I joke all the time. I says, I can't go back to France. I don't speak Arabic. So it's scary to go back to my country where I was born. Even in America, I would not wear my yarmulke on the street. I'm sorry. I just, it's scary.
And yet we have some good news.
I'm very vocal, but it's dangerous for the Jews, and it's not going to get any better.
And yet we have this great news today. Department of Education. Look at that. Look at that date, folks. That's today, March 7th, 2025. DOJ, HHS, ED, and GSA announced initial cancellation of grants and contracts to Columbia University worth $400 million.
This is huge.
Members of the Joint Task Force to combat anti-Semitism take swift action to protect Jewish students in response to inaction by Columbia University. Olivier?
All he has to do is one. And all the other schools are going to go, oh, no, we better clean up our act. I'm hoping this is going to happen.
I think it will. But just think about it. 4 years of the Biden administration, there was so much talk about anti-Semitism. There were conferences, there were meetings, there were documents, 80-page documents on how to fight anti-Semitism. And guess what? It was all talk, not 99% talk, 100%. And now we have the Trump administration, real action, real consequences. That's what it's all about. If there are no consequences, the bad guys can do things again and again, and there have been no consequences. Those who have been arrested at universities, they're back out in the street faster than the police officers get out of the precinct. So finally, we have this remarkable thing from the administration. God bless Donald Trump. It is just remarkable. And let me just mention something else. They're also kicking people out of the country. If you're on a student visa to America, you're on a visa. We're giving you permission to be in America to study at a university. And you are out there at the university violating other people's rights, supporting a terrorist organization. We kick you the hell out of this country. You don't belong here. Freedom of speech, yes, but not supporting terrorism, not being involved in violence. Let me say one last thing. I want to see the federal government, besides those from other countries who should be kicked out, and they will be, and that is going on as we speak. The federal government should come into places like New York and other places and bring federal charges against those who are violating the civil rights of students at different universities. Because the state courts, the city courts, forget about them. New York, you can get arrested 34 times and it doesn't matter. You won't spend an hour in jail or anything else. So, I'm hoping that the federal government will bring federal charges against those who are violating the civil rights of students, creating fear, supporting terrorism.
Wow!
Well,
look at this.
If
Look at
anybody
this.
does, if anybody does, it will be Trump.
Of course.
Look at this video. Dove. He says Dove. Is it Dove or Dove?
Whatever you want to say, I'll accept. But I'm not a bird. I'm not a dove, a bird. The DOV is actually in Hebrew a bear. I'm a bear, not a dove.
There you go. Look at that. I'm glad I asked.
Be careful.
We talked about this. What video is this? What school is this? This video I'm about to play. What is this?
I think that's
Barnard?
Columbia. Columbia.
Oh, Columbia.
Columbia. Okay. Here we go.
Can't
Watch.
keep up.
I don't know if there's any cursing. If there is, I apologize. Here we go.
Why are we going up? Where's the first floor? Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! There is only one solution! Anti-Semitism revolution! There is only one solution!
Antifada. What does that word mean, Olivier?
Uprising. It means uprising. Globalize the Intifada or campus Intifada. When I see these idiots, pardon my French, I can say this. I'm from France. When I see these idiots saying globalize the Intifada or promoting Hamas and going after Jewish students and becoming physical against Jewish students. Brandon, let's call it what it is. It's a pogrom. It's a pogrom. It's an organized riot against a people group. And what we see is the police basically standing down and saying, oh, we can't get involved in that. And hopefully with Trump, it's going to change. I don't think it's going to stop anti-Semitism, because I think in the era that we live in, from a biblical standpoint, I think it's only going to increase. But I think under Trump's government, it's going to change things, and it's going to make it very difficult for anti-Semite to openly be anti-Semitic. They might have to go back to becoming cockroaches and only come out at night, if you catch my drift. Because under Biden, they basically did whatever they wanted. Nobody cared. The more you do, the better, because we hate the Jews. But under Trump, it's going to change.
What does this mean to you? This, when you see someone with this handkerchief or neckerchief or scarf, what does that mean to you as a Jewish person? When you see someone, let's say someone was a crowd of people wearing that came your way on the street, what would you think? What does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't care what the person wears. I care what they say and what they're doing. And Intifada, that reminds me of a period back in the 1990s and into the next century where buses, supermarkets, restaurants in Israel were being blown up with the people. You were sitting and having pizza at Sabaro in the heart of Jerusalem, and the bomb went off and killed 10, 15 people. That's what Intifada is. When you chant Intifada, you are referring to murdering Jews, murdering Israelis. That's what that is all about. And having that keffiyeh on and covering your face, and it's just remarkable. With everything that has happened, the videos that you just showed, and there are many others, this just happened a couple of days ago. You would think that Columbia and some of these other universities would have learned from the past. They all talk about they want to deal with the issue, and they're dealing with the issue. And of course, it's just not true. They don't have the guts. They don't have the leadership. I call them, actually, they're cowards. That's what they are. They are cowards. But that's why we got Donald Trump and his administration, and people like Leo Terrell in the Justice Department we're going to see real action. We're going to see real results. If you're violating the law, if you are creating fear on the part of other students, by the way, there was someone from the university that was injured at one of these incidents in the last week and ended up in the hospital, for God's sake. What else needs to happen? Do we have to have a real tragedy where, God forbid, many people are murdered before these universities take it seriously? It's such a sham. It's such a fraud. These Ivy League universities who don't have the guts to do the right thing. Again, if you support Palestine, I don't give a darn. You can do that. This is America. In America, you have a right to support whatever the hell you want. But you don't have a right to violate my civil and human rights. And that is exactly what is going on.
Here's a book. I've interviewed Alan Dershowitz several times on this book, The War Against the Jews, How to Defend Against Hamas Barbarism. And, he said that these campuses, of which now 400 million is being taken away by the Trump administration for one group alone, Columbia. He said in my interviews that some of these students, he believes, will become terrorists. Do you agree with that, Olivier?
If they keep being indoctrinated, and if somehow they believe that their cause is just social justice and they're fighting against the occupier, the colonizer, the genocidal people group, they will eventually believe that their cause is worth fighting for. It's the truth, it's justice, and yes, they will become, I wouldn't put it past them, they would become terrorists. Now, I wanted to mention something about genocide, because we hear this, I'm sick of it. We hear that, Israel is committing genocide against the Gazans and the Palestinians. And first of all, the world needs to know that when in 1948, there was 600,000 Arabs in Israel. Now there's over 2 million. So this is the opposite of ethnic cleansing. Or if they're trying, they're not doing a good job, okay? It's not ethnic cleansing. And genocide, I always thought that the definition was at least 25% of a people group had to be destroyed to qualify under genocide. But in my research recently, I found out that actually the intent is enough to call it genocide. So if you have a genocidal intent, you are planning to commit genocide. And what these students are doing on campuses when they chant from the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free, that is intent to commit genocide. What they accuse Israel of is exactly what they're trying to do.
And
Brandon, can I just jump in? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say the question that you just asked about these students at universities, whether they can become terrorists, that's a possibility. I would say to you, not they will become or can become, they are right now. And let me explain what I mean. I've been to these rallies. I've been to these demonstrations, including the one in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago. If you will watch the hate on their face, the animosity in their face, in their expressions, if they could get away with murdering Jews, if they could get away with murdering me, get away with it, they would do it in a split second. I have no doubt. There is such hate that has been implanted in many of these individuals for years and years at these universities. You go to an Ivy League university to develop genocidal tendencies, to become a terrorist, for God's sake. So I have no doubt that many of those in the streets of America, we've watched them destroy property. We've seen their faces literally foaming at the mouth. They are filled with hate. So let me tell you, if they could get away with murdering Americans today, they would.
Well, and I hate to say this, I think you guys know this. It's not just there. It's in some of our so-called Protestant evangelical churches with what is called replacement theology, that God is done with the Jewish people and the nation state of Israel. And many of our so-called evangelical Protestant churches teach this, and therefore they have picked up on this anti-Semitism. Some of them don't know they are being anti-Semitic, but they are. And then you have the morons on social media. I don't know if I dare name them because I don't want to promote them. But some of these people that claim to be conservative, claim to be MAGA, or even claim to be America First, or whatever they claim to be, they're all over social media. And the vile, I mean, every, Candace Owens, okay, that's just one. But there's others, a couple of them every day. It's like they're obsessed with this anti-Semitism. And I look at this and I'm thinking, what happened to you people? This wasn't always the way you were, at least
And they
publicly.
come, and sorry, Brent, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. But my blood is boiling. They come from the right now.
Yeah.
We have the radical left. Everybody knows they're wacko. Okay, fine. The radical left, we're expecting it from the radical left. We're expecting it from radical Muslims. But the right, the conservative right, the Christian right, so to speak, and I don't like the word Christian right because it sounds like nationalist, and that's kind of scary. But the right now is going after the Jews. So there's nowhere to go. It's and I don't know, Dove, I don't know you very well. I don't know if you're a religious man or not, but I'm convinced that this hatred that you just described, it is from Hasatan. It's from the devil himself. The anti-Semitism is not, when people say these people are they're crazy. They're not crazy because insane. Oh, this is insane. No, it's not insane. It's evil, because insanity gives you the opportunity for saying that, hey, you know what? I was insane. I was not in control. It's not my fault. It exonerates responsibility. It's not insanity. It's pure evil.
Yeah. Brennan, I got to give you tremendous credit, Brennan, because you really speak the truth in terms of facing what's going on the right. It used to be that, people like myself and everyone, when anti-Semitism was coming from the left, and of course it's there on the left, we know that historically, by the way, but everyone would condemn everything, every little remark we would condemn, but now it is unfortunately growing on the right. And you really, I give you tremendous respect for bringing it up, for talking about it, because it is developing more and more. Even people like Tucker Carlson having guests. I have watched his show, an hour and a half sometimes. He's got Holocaust deniers on his show, and he's not being critical of them. He thinks some of them are wonderful historians. What the hell is going on, for God's sake?
I saw that show. It was insane.
It was mind-boggling.
It was crazy.
Exactly.
And then but this isn't the first time. He's struck out at least 3 times now, because then he's also had on the guy from Bethlehem,
Gunther Isaacs.
Right.
The Christ at the checkpoint. If he had at least 2 sides to the argument and say, hey, here's one side, here's the other side, let's discuss, see if we can get anything out of it, I'd say, okay, I'm still respecting you. But he's not. He's promoting one side, the side that everybody's buying, the false Palestinian narrative.
So why would he not have one of you on, or both of you on, or say, hey, let's go have Christian Zionist Brandon House on? You know why?
Hey, I'm available. You know where to find me. I'm available.
I'm going to say it, because Tucker Carlson is an empty suit and a chicken. Tucker Carlson could not debate me. He could not debate you. He would lose. And it would have to be live. It would have to be live, so he couldn't edit it, because I would eat Tucker Carlson's lunch.
Yeah. Listen. There's something is going on out there that makes me very uncomfortable. We have Donald Trump in the most amazing administration imaginable, with so many superstars on every level: Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, on and on and on. Great people. I know many of them.
Unprecedented.
Many fabulous people. But there's something going on the right that's not healthy and cannot lead to a good place. And let me tell you the biggest problem. Not enough people are speaking out. Not enough people are taking these people to task like they took the people on the left to task. Why is it different? one standard for anti-Semitism, one standard for hate. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican. I don't give a darn what you are. If you hate, then we need to call you out. And by the way, when I watch a lot of the stuff going on, the ignorance that is out there, the lack of knowledge of history, not my knowledge, history. It's like, don't confuse me with the facts. That's the attitude
Amen.
of so many people.
Yep. Well, again, I just don't know that Tucker Carlson, all these guys understand or have chosen to be educated, as you say, that there's never been a Palestinian state. They don't have a capital. They don't have a currency. They don't have anything. This is completely made up out of whole cloth. I don't have to tell you guys that. I'm just reminding the audience. Yasser Qadi, that's another guy we could talk about too. But Yasser Arafat's like, hey, we're the Palestinians. I'm like, okay, this is the Philistines, all right? This is what a Roman emperor came up with to criticize the Jews, and let's call it Philistine or Palestine to go after the Jews, their arch enemy, the Philistines. Again, I don't know how many times we have to repeat that, but it doesn't seem to break through to even conservative talk radio. They don't seem to know this on average conservative talk radio. I appreciate your kind words, Dov. I want to just remind the audience, we saw this coming. Olivier saw it coming. I know Dov saw it coming. But even here, I'm not Jewish. These two gentlemen are. I saw it coming, and we produced a documentary or a conference in 2017 on the coming. We call it Holocaust Horizon. That's what it was. Let me check the date on it. Holocaust Horizon. Maybe you can put that into our search engine too, Logan, to double check. I know we did it in 2019. Yeah, we did it in 2019 and 2018. 2018, we did it from the studio. 2019, we did it over at Lake of the Ozarks for a national conference. So 2018, 2019, Olivia was at the 2019 one. He may have been at the one in 2018 in the studio. I don't remember. But we kind of saw this coming, right, guys? We got ahead of the curve. We started trying to educate the audience, thinking maybe we could bring a lot of them along. And some of them I think we did. But I am really depressed and disturbed on what's happening on the right, and that people like Tucker Carlson still have a following, that Candace Owens has a following. And some of these people are actually grown. They're growing in their following. Stu Peters and some of these guys on social media, their audiences are growing, Olivier, not going down.
Yeah. Brennan, I just have to mention that I literally only have 2 minutes left. And I just got to tell you, Brennan, I love you. You're amazing. I'm so happy that God put us in touch with each other. And is it Oliver, Olivier?
Olivier, like Laurence Olivier.
I want you to wear your yarmulke starting today. If you wear it. If you don't, fine. But we cannot be afraid of our enemies, ever. I wear my yarmulke. I'm not more religious than anyone else in the world. It's just that I'm not going to let any anti-Semite scare me. Period. End of the story. And I look forward to getting to know you and having a relationship. And
I need to have you on my YouTube show. I need to have you. Yeah, I've watched a few things before the show to get to know what kind of person you are. And I'm going like, man, he's not shy. I like this guy.
He was in the state legislature. He was in the state legislature in New York.
I know.
Yeah.
But Dov, I'm going to try to stay in touch with you through Brennan.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dov.
Together.
Information.
Thank you, Dov.
Brennan, let me
Good
say
Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom. Have a great weekend. And Brennan, you're my hero.
You're very kind. Hey, look, we're all fighting the same fight because we better hang together. We're going to hang separately, right?
Thank you. All the best. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, sir. Olivia,
Good
let
Shabbos.
me ask you, Olivier. We talk about these groups. These guys on the college campuses, these people on the college campuses would have no recruits for what we've seen on video, I don't think, if it didn't start with this communist social justice agenda. In other words, the same people that were in the streets over George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter crowd, the Antifa crowd, all those, the progressives, the Weather Underground, if you will. We go back to the Weather Underground, the 70s. Their 1973 manifesto, 73, 74 manifesto, Prairie Fire. It's in my library right over here on a shelf. If you read it, it's everything we're facing today. It's pro-CCP, pro-China. It's pro-PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization. It's against the Jews. It's the same. It's social justice. It's against the free market system. These students would not be such fertile ground for the anti-Semitism and Hamas and Muslim Brotherhood if it weren't first for the progressive Marxist education they've gotten all the way
That's
through
all
their
they get-
elementary
that's all they
and
get from their
secondary
professors.
Would you agree?
Yes, that's all they get from their professors. They're getting indoctrinated into that kind of ideology. And what do you expect when this is everything that you just listed? What do you expect? You're gonna be exactly where they want you to be. They're forming, they're molding, they're shaping the next generation of leaders who are going to be Marxist, Jew-hating Marxist, and I mean America got a taste of it for 4 years, and I don't know if we're just getting 4 years of respite under Trump or if it's going to continue. But we got a taste of where Marxism could take us.
Yep.
It's not good.
Nope. Okay, so let me ask you this in closing. What do you make of this tweet earlier this week? Shalom, Hamas. Did you see this? Shalom, Hamas.
Yes, I heard about it, and I said, yeah.
Means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Release all the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it's over for you. Only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. I'm sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Not a single Hamas member will be safe if you do as I say. If you don't do as I say. I've just met with your former hostages whose lives you have destroyed. And we saw those 8 Jewish hostages coming into the Oval Office this week. We covered it on radio. It was very emotional. What do you make, though? Can you believe you have a president that starts out a tweet to Hamas?
I can't.
Shalom, Hamas.
No, well, yes, with them, I can't believe that. I also cannot believe I'm still recovering from the 400 million taken away from Colombia. This is a lot bigger than people realize. This is amazing. This is showing, it's continuing to show that Trump means what he says and says what he means. And that should put all the schools on,
High alert.
on high alert. Thank you. This is your final warning. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with the Jews. And as far as Hamas, he did say, that Saturday by noon, all the hostages, and then, of course, it didn't happen, and they're still there. I don't know what he's going to do. I think that he's just basically. I think Trump is willing to do whatever Israel and whatever Bibi is willing to do. I think they're gearing up right now for a full-blown Gaza incursion. They're going to go in and clean up the place. The problem is that nobody knows how many hostages are still alive, and they still want to try to at least get the bodies of the dead hostages. So that's the biggest dilemma: is what do you do with the rest of the hostages? If they could get them all dead and alive on Israel's side, then they would level Hamas in one day.
And you have to, I'm sure, agree with what I said on radio yesterday, is having those 8 hostages in the Oval Office, as he did this week, and talking to them, some of them who were just released. One man who lost his wife and children and who had lost, the bulk of his body weight. President Trump, as I said on radio the other day, is now emotionally invested. He's got Jewish grandchildren. He's got Jewish grandchildren.
And also I heard, and I thought he would have seen it before. There's a 47-minute movie. You've heard about that,
Yeah,
right?
tell me your thoughts on it.
Well, and I've not seen it, but it's a compilation of footage taken by Hamas and Palestinians on October 7th on their phone, on the phone of Jewish people, posting it on the Facebook page of the Jewish people, directly filming how they torture them and kill them, and then posting for the world to see what they did and how they killed their Jews. And so the footage was gathered into a 47-minute movie that nobody is able to watch and remain. I mean, you cannot watch without being disgusted or crying or walking out of the room, and you definitely cannot unsee what you see. From what I've heard, I haven't had access to that movie yet. I'm looking to get my hands on it. I'll let
Well,
you know
if you do, please let me know, because I'll play it. And the reason why is because we have to use the truth to wake people up. And that's why when we covered for over 8 hours on the weekend that October 7th happened in Israel, we played video without scrambling it. Other networks were scrambling it. We weren't. We're like, are you kidding me? Why would we scramble this? These people need to see this. The same way Eisenhower made them walk.
I'm going to Israel at the end of the month, and I might be able to get a copy of it. So if I do, you'll be the first one to know.
Thank you. Tell me in closing about this movie in Hollywood. What was this movie?
No, it's called No Other Land. It's a movie. Two directors, one Israeli, Yuval Abraham, and one Arab, forgot his name, Basil something.
There he is, Basil Adra.
Basil Abda, and basically they won best documentary, and it's a movie documenting it's not on Gaza, it's on Judea Samaria. People know it as the West Bank. It's a movie that is promoting the idea that Jews and Palestinians should live in peace. They can make it happen in their lifetime. And so in a vacuum, two people group that don't get along and saying we want to work together to be more human and work together towards peace. In a vacuum, I'd say this is a great concept. The problem I have with this movie is that it's one-sided. It only points the finger at Israel being, again, the genocidal people group that they always paint. It says nothing except one short sentence from the Israeli guy, but the Palestinian guy or the Arab says nothing about October 7th. And then what really got me, and I wrote an article on my blog that I posted like 2 days ago on it. What really got me is when the Israeli that you see him right now on the screen, when he says, for us to have peace, us meaning my people, he's talking about the Jews and the Arabs now, for us to have peace, they have to have freedom. No, sorry. For us to be safe, they have to have freedom. And I'm thinking, really, if there's one thing we learned from October 7th is that when Hamas has freedom, which they had for 2005 moving forward, that's 20 years. When Hamas has freedom, Israel does not have safety. 1,200 people dead can tell you about it.
Well,
so that is a big lie.
So well said. And what they're proposing here is, hey, well, the Arabs and the Jews get along for a kumbaya, interfaith dialogue, coexist. But wait a minute. The people that were murdered on October 7th in the kibbutz were those people. They were more liberal, progressive, social justice, interfaith dialogue, kumbaya, coexist Jews who opened the fence, let the Palestinians in, gave them jobs, paid them to work in their gardens, tried to have that bridge. Some of them were known. One older gentleman particularly was known for this. These people were known for this. This kibbutz was known for this. And how did that work out for them? There was no coexisting. There was only rape and murder and torture. So how could these people be so blind to not realize the movie you're making and what you're calling for was already tried in a kibbutz, and those people were murdered by the Palestinians from Gaza, not the other way around.
And Brennan, what nobody is talking about is the fact that one of the I don't know if it was a cameraman but one of the staff member of that filming crew got killed on October 7th by Hamas. So nobody's talking about that. One of their peaceful peace activists that did that movie got killed on October 7th.
Is this him?
Sorry?
I think that's him.
Maybe, and I can't read on the screen. Maybe that's him. I don't know, but
let me go to the article, see what it says. No Other Land. Okay, that's the.
No, that's the trailer.
Oh, that's the trailer. Okay. Well, I wanted to see if I could find a picture of that guy because I did not know that. I did not know what you're saying right now. So you're saying that one of the guys that was involved.
One of the guys that was involved in making the movie was killed by Hamas on October 7th. And I don't know his name. I can look it up. I can find it. But and so that it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. It's people can go to shalomandmessiah.com and not New Anti-Semitism. You got the wrong website.
What is that? What is it?
Shalomandmessiah.com.
Okay, I went to New Anti-Semitism and it redirected.
Yeah, I think it does redirect.
It redirected.
Antisemitism.com. Yes.
Well, what a testimony tonight from both of you guys. And
This was great.
it's a bit, yeah, absolutely. And great news today. Donald Trump, 400 million gone from Colombia. It's a start, and it'll send shockwaves through the liberal, progressive, anti-Semite campuses. True?
I hope so.
Me too. Aaron, that's my reporter in Israel. Olivier Melnick, newantisemitism.com or shalominmessiah.org, right?
.com.
.com. Shalominmessiah.com. All right.
Shalominmessiah.com, yes.
Thank you, Olivier. Appreciate you.
Be blessed.
You too, my friend. Olivier Melnick checking in, folks. And again, remember, it's a rare network. I'm not bragging. Like Rush Limbaugh said, if it's true, it ain't bragging. We're a rare network, and it's not by mistake. It's by design. It's by design. We do what we do and how we do it, stand for what we stand for. And yep, there are some people that won't watch us. They won't watch us, and that's fine. We're not here to be the biggest program. We decided long ago we weren't interested in being the biggest program. We decided long ago we were going to be a program that's committed to truth and educating people. And if people don't want that, then they can go find another network. But if you appreciate what we stand for, folks, we do need your support. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Again, you'll find our mailing address there if you prefer to support us through the mail. Again, another long format interview tonight without interruption, without commercials, selling soap and pickup trucks and cruises and pharmaceuticals. I think that's most of what these networks sell. We're trying not to do that. We're trying not to sell pickup trucks and cruises and whatever else is out there. Because we have a format that's, well, really working. And it's about content. Yeah, we got to bring in the revenue. And this is a major way to do it. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Please. The last few days, donations have been a little slow the last few days. I'll have to tell you. I don't know why. It was really doing well. Surprisingly, January and February did really well for people who have to catch up from Christmas bills. March, starting off a little slow. So please think about us. Worldviewfoundation.com. All right, we'll take a look at this before we go tonight. Look at this headline coming from Epoch Health. Pesticides in produce. Shopper's Guide lists most and least contaminated fruits and vegetables. Well, folks, we do know that there are so many of our foods that are sprayed. And of course, we know it's in so much of the water and everything else, which again, of course, is one reason why you need to detox your cells with glutathione, which is a naturally occurring molecule in your body. 162,000 studies on PubMed about glutathione. Swish with it for about 3 minutes and spit out or swallow it. Within 90 seconds, the glutathione is in your system, starting to detox your cells. I do it every day along with my Bella Grace and my Gatatana. So check that out. Won't you do that, my friends? And then check out the new sponsor. We have a new sponsor. We're going to have a new custom homepage soon. But it is it's 1775 coffee.com/worldview. 1775.com/worldview. Now, I've been drinking this coffee all week. I've actually been drinking about 4 cups a day now. I usually do about 3. But this is really good. But you know what I love about it? It's not sprayed with pesticides. And my wife is very big on coffee not sprayed with pesticides because the coffee plant is one of the most sprayed plants out there. So this is not sprayed. This is organic. That is a bottomless cup there, folks. They just keep pouring and it doesn't overflow. That's pretty magical. So check it out. Use that URL so we get credit. Get a subscription. Great coffee, conservative company, and they give a percentage of each sale back to us, folks. 1775coffee.com/worldview. That's until we get our custom landing page built by Jill real soon. Pray for Jill. Our editor, Jill, had to go to California, and her brother passed away. So she had to go to California for a private service. So pray for my editor, Jill, if you would, please. All right, roll the music, boys. That is a night. In fact, she laid out these cards. She does a lot of our graphic work. Jill's a great lady. If you want to get the free cards, remember, worldviewstore.com, worldviewstore.com. Don't forget also, April 15th is our big Worldview rally in Milwaukee, actually Waukesha, outside of Milwaukee, the Waukesha Expo Center. Tickets are free. worldviewtube.com/events. worldviewtube.com/events. It's filling fast. All right. Lord willing, I'll be back Sunday night. Unless there's breaking news, I'll be breaking in. Otherwise, I will spend a big chunk of Saturday and Sunday studying to bring you a lesson, I think, 32, as I'm teaching through the book of Revelation. We'll pick it back up with Revelation chapter 13, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Central. It's our Sunday night church service brought to you by our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com. So next time at Brandon House, may God save America. Take care.